Yeah, you gonna carry this because I'm extroverted.
Yeah.
I don't care who gonna be there. I'm there.
This is not a drill, this is how I feel. Pop champagne, I'ma do it for the thrill. Escape with me, I'm saying it maybe we could take off and then land on a jet ski. Baby, I hold it tight, top shelf with it.
I'm gonna be dancing.
You know what? That's so true. Have the cameras already started rolling, correct? I was gonna say that's so true because you
She always asks
actually
that
I would say we
question.
can start right now. We don't even really got to do intro for real. You actually hate that question. We've talked about that before.
Right.
You hate when people are like, who
Oh,
are
I
gonna
hate
be
that.
there? We've talked about it. You're like, why do people always want to know if you gonna be there? And I'm the type
My
I'm like,
students used to say it all
who
the
are gonna be
time.
there?
You'll announce something like the homecoming dance, and like, well, I don't know who gonna be there. If everybody thinks that, then nobody's going to be there.
You know,
You're going to be there.
I remember what started it. It's because we were talking about how at my high school didn't have homecoming for like the first 5 years of being open.
And wait, you gotta explain this.
Oh,
It was a new high school. Like when I
Yeah.
first started working there, brand new first year it opened. I think you came to that high school the second year, and so they didn't have all their traditions in place. So when they were like, "Don't nobody want to pay for homecoming? It's in the gym.
Who's going there? Who are
and I'm
gonna be
like,
there? Yeah.
pause.
And nobody came.
It's like traditionally, it's in the gym,
But
or
also,
just another place on
right,
campus.
What happened was people started throwing parties the night of homecoming. So then it became
Trifling.
who's throwing this year's party and nobody's going to homecoming. We didn't.
Just that.
What high school do you know is not having a homecoming dance? You know what I mean?
Right.
Us.
And now, it took a few years.
I feel like they probably
Were
have
you
it
there
now.
when they had homecoming?
Child, no, they didn't have one homecoming dance while I was there, child.
Wow, so that was 5 years in.
That's what I'm saying.
And
I'm
I was
like,
there for 10.
a whole 5 years.
But I tell you what, when they finally did have it, like
Ouch.
the kids
was
actually
fun.
started coming and participating, like even the freshmen.
It has to take somebody to spearhead.
But that whole who's gonna be there, I'm
Yeah.
like, as long as you're there, that's what matters.
Yeah. But that is so my introvertedness versus your extrovertedness.
Yeah.
Because I will be like, well, who?
So
Because,
I need insight.
okay.
Like
We'll have a wedgie.
when you're an introvert, what is the thing with who's going to be there? Like, because to me, if it's a social event, it's a
Mhm.
social event.
Yeah. So that's the thing. My who are going to be there is like, who am I getting ready to talk to when I get there? Because at being introverted, whenever I'm going into a social situation, I'm like, immediately I'm thinking a week ahead, who am I talking to at this event?
Oh,
I'm not kidding.
wow.
Anytime I'm doing anything, I'm like, well, who am I talking to?
Wow, let me give you the other perspective.
Oh my gosh, let's hear it.
The other perspective is I can't wait to see who's gonna be there. Like what connections I'm gonna make.
Oh
how
wow,
much
and
fun
I don't
I'm
want
gonna
one
have,
single surprise.
Like
Yeah, ever.
Wow.
I don't want one single surprise. I just want to at least, if I know like a few people, I'm good. Everybody else could be a surprise, I guess. But I want to know who I'm gonna go there and talk to.
Right.
I don't like floating. I don't like, because you know me, mom. Like, and we've talked about this. If I'm thrust into a social situation, I can turn it on real quick. I can mask my emotions really easily. There'll be times that we're talking to people and I'm like nodding and I'm like, yes.
Shari's
and
all
she will
into
ask
it.
me, no, I actually hate this. And we're working on it. I'm like, mom,
I don't know. I can't
don't
tell.
ask me this anymore. Somebody will be talking. I'm nodding and she'll ask me in front of them. She'll be like, what did they say? I'm like,
Not
I
right in
don't
front of
know.
them.
I'm just,
Once they turn
no,
away.
mom,
Shari,
you've done it. You've done
they're
it because,
usually doing
because one
something
time
else,
you
and I'll
did
be
it.
like, Shari,
no,
what did they say?
one time you did it.
And Shari be like, I don't know, mom. Why are you asking me?
You've done it in front of them because one time you did it and I did it like that. I like elbowed you because I'm like, why would you say that in front of them so I can look stupid
I had
and say,
no
I don't know.
idea. She was so engaged, fully committed. She'd be like, and then they'll say something. I'm like, I know, I didn't hear that.
Because
I'm like, what'd they
sometimes
say?
I don't know what it is. I'm just not hearing, but I don't want the other person to present to them like I'm not listening to what they have to say.
Could you be tuned out because
I'm tuned out. Brain clogged out.
because
I'm
you're not
telling you.
interested?
No, it's not even that I'm not interested, but sometimes in a social situation, if I'm not settled yet, my brain is turning off. Like I'm not really hearing what's going on. I'm in my head.
So does it
there's
take a
not
while
enough
to get
room.
there, or you start off like that?
I just start off like that. I think I
Oh,
eventually,
wow.
I think I do eventually get comfortable, but I kind of start off, but I'm in my head and it's not enough room for two voices. So it's my voice happening, but people are talking and I think it's rude to not be paying attention when somebody's like talking to you. And I'm like, Shari, at least appear social.
But you're really not paying attention.
I know, but they should at least like,
they should walk away feeling like they were heard.
yeah, because what I don't want to do is people be like, oh, like she was rude. Like she didn't know. Like I'm gonna engage. If I'm in a social situation, like you have to engage in some way. No matter what's going on in my head, I'm like, you're in a social situation. Engage with the people.
Because I'm thinking about like they're walking away thinking, oh, like I had a conversation, she heard me, and she's really like not hearing her. Is is that okay? Like to be like, I'm not really listening to people. I'm tuning people out when it's too many voices or an extra
Let me add
voice.
this in. These are usually surface level conversations. These are surface. For like a deep interaction, I wouldn't even get to a deep conversation if I wasn't tuned in. It wouldn't even be
So
possible.
what would you do to if this is a good question. You're having a conversation with somebody. It started off surface, but it looks like it's going down to something deeper and you don't have the capacity to have
That's
that
actually never really
conversation.
happened before. Like
Interesting.
if we're talking to the point where it's been this long where we're getting into a deep conversation, I'm probably clocked in. That's usually like I said, I just got here. I haven't settled in yet. And it's like, so I'm just in my head because I haven't adjusted to the situation yet. Very surface, like, oh my gosh, like your shirt and da da da. How long it take y'all to get here? Oh yeah, surface stuff. Nothing important. When somebody's talking about something important, my ears are open. Because you know me, once I get really comfortable, now let's talk down, okay?
Yes,
Like, we
I
can be
agree, but I'm
anywhere
imagining like somebody's talking about something that is super important to them, but it's not super important. Like I can think of somebody in your life who, when they
yeah.
talk, like what they're saying is really deep to them, but you may not value, I'd rather not say their
Ooh.
names,
Okay.
and you may not value it as much. And do you tune out then, or are you still trying to stay there?
Do I disagree with what they're saying?
What do you mean?
Like, because there's a difference between when there are like people in our life, right? That I feel like I can think about who you're talking about. But if I'm in a conversation or not even a conversation, if somebody's talking and we have completely two different viewpoints,
Yeah.
and I know that we wouldn't get anywhere, with that, then yes, I might, if you're talking about who I think you're
Yeah,
talking
I'm not
about.
even talking about whether you agree with what they say or not. They are passionate about hammers and nails. I don't know. And they're
Mhm.
talking to you about hammers and nails, which you don't find exciting at all, but there's nothing wrong with them talking about it. Is that something where you feel like you would just sit there and like, oh, wow.
No, I would listen. See, here's the thing. I also don't break down in my head like, Shari, here's the conversations you're going to tune into, and here's the conversation you're going to tune out
Okay.
of.
It just
It's more
happens.
so like when I say surface, I just mean like small talk stuff.
Okay.
You know what I mean? If somebody's talking about something, even if it's hammers and nails, that might be a surface level conversation. But if they're passionate about hammers and nails, well, I'm about to listen to hear you talk about hammers and
Oh,
nails. But
wow.
I don't usually break up my interactions like that.
Gotcha.
Like, oh, if it's this
Gotcha.
level of conversation, it's this level. It's just more so I've noticed when I first get to a place, if small talk is happening, I'm not always so what's the word? Not steadfast. I'm not always so
Staunch.
like alert in the small talkness
Okay,
of it
got
all.
it.
Even though
Got
I'm
it.
participating, I'm not always that alert yet during that part. But I feel like if I'm in a social situation, I should be a participant. You know what I
Got it.
mean?
Got it. I wanted to ask G Money if she doesn't mind. What is it about you know, the who's gonna be there that is a thing for you? Like, if you
I
could
think just mentally getting myself ready to be in that environment. Especially if you don't know anyone, so you really have to like put yourself out there. It's just mentally preparing myself.
And you're an introvert
Yeah.
as well?
I'm an introvert with extrovert tendencies.
My former therapist, we used to talk about this. I have a lot of trouble with like surface like versus deep. When I was telling her about like all my friendships, she's like, all your friendships are all or nothing. It's either super deep or not at all. Like she was like, you don't do
That's
well
true.
with acquaintance. Like every relationship that I have, I seek for it to
This
be a
is
deep,
true.
meaningful
This
one.
is true.
And I don't seek out a lot of them. I would rather just have like a few really close friends. And if I'm like talking to somebody and I feel like we don't automatically have that thing where it's like we can talk about everything and we can just lay it all out there and da 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 da. I just don't, it's like I have a hard time maintaining acquaintances or surface relationships. But I feel the crazy thing is, logically, and after talking to my therapist especially, I feel like those are still important. I feel like you still get stuff out of those relationships, and I feel like they're mutually beneficial. Like to have an acquaintance where it may not be the deepest relationship ever, I feel like it still does something for you. Like grabbing lunch with somebody who you used to have this dance class with, like, oh, let's catch up or whatever. Having those relationships, that's a part of community, I feel, having those relationships. But I struggle to do those because when I'm hanging out with somebody, I like having I don't know. I like for it to be
You
like,
want depth?
yes, all the time, all the time. And so I
Mm.
really functioning under like a surface level type is just really hard for me. And but I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with like having surface
Right. That's
friendships,
just kind of how you operate. I feel like I'm
but it's not
outnumbered
my
here
strength.
because I think, Jerry, you're also an introvert? No? Yeah, that's what.
He looked over at Jared. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I picked up on that, but like literally there are 4 introverts and I'm the one extrovert. But you know,
I like it about you.
and you like that about me?
Yes. Remember, we had a game night. Oh my gosh. When you're like in your mode,
I'm
you are so
facilitating the
much fun
game
to
night.
watch. We're playing Mafia. You were like the host of Traitors, I feel. That's what you gave.
Yes,
Mom.
I could so do that. I could so
You're
play that
just
game.
so, it comes so naturally to you. And I like want some of those qualities because I could turn it on if I need to. Like there's been times where me and you have kind of been on the spot and we're doing our thing.
Oh,
whatever,
honey,
blah, blah, blah.
yes.
It doesn't come as naturally. Sometimes I feel like I have to bring it on and you just start like thriving.
I have a lot of people that I think they would consider us to have a really deep bond.
Yes.
And very close.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's exhausting. But I didn't realize it was exhausting until I was exhausted.
Yeah.
And I there were more things on my plate and I realized, wow, I don't even have the capacity to fuel or feed into this friendship that I've created.
Because you do, Mom, when I think about it, you do kind of have like a lot of friends.
I have a lot of like great friends and
You
even
do.
people that I've worked with, not everybody, but at any job, I always have a good 2, maybe 3 that I keep in contact with and we talk deeply as it relates to access to me. And when I say access, like somebody needed me, that's why, Shari, you wonder why you're like, you answer your phone.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Somebody needs me. Somebody wants to talk to
Yeah.
me. So I'm better with that now. Like
Yeah.
now, sometimes I'll put my phone on do not disturb, what have you. But I
Yes.
remember with Steph that was like, you don't always have to answer your phone. She wasn't like reprimanding me. She just was saying it in conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is so true. But it's like, I feel like, suppose that person needed something. Suppose something's going on. So it's like constantly lending myself to people. It can really be exhausting. On top of that,
That'd be part of why you be tired.
that's why I be tired.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I'm not having the quiet time with myself. So it's like, just imagine somebody that's constantly functioning in what is that? Sympathetic. There's parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic is fight or flight. And that's usually like when your anxiety is kicking in, but I can see in my older age, I can become anxious now. It's like I'm not managing it as well because I'm so busy trying to manage all these relationships that I've created.
That makes a lot of sense. Like you saying that can be to your detriment because that's to my like strength as an introvert. Like I never seen anything like who do you know is laying down for a nap. They're getting to the point where they're dozing off. Phone rings. She gets up and fully answers like, hello. I'm like, you were getting ready to fall asleep.
But
and I don't, if I'm getting ready to fall asleep, you guarantee that phone is not going to be answered. I have carved out times, like, for example, if I'm getting ready to eat, that is a no answer the phone time
for
ever.
sure,
like
sure.
I block out time. So I end up, there are certain parts of my life that can just be like sacred to me. And I'll get back to people.
Right. And it could be,
haven't always
and
done
to
the
your
best with
point, Deani, I see you're stepping in there with the boundary with the whole mom calling
I was about
you.
to say with not answering your
me,
mom.
there's a balance to that. Like I did feel like always answering the phone was not a good thing. That's not healthy for me, right? But now I would say over the past 3-4 years, I'm so much better with that. But at the same time, like I am going to now set parameters. It ain't gonna be like, you can't reach me at all.
Right.
It's gonna be during these times. And I had to tell my husband that. And bless his heart, he loves to send me messages like, how's your day going? Hope you have a wonderful day. And with the type of thing I do, I don't even always have time to stop and press like or heart it.
Yeah.
Because I could be presenting.
Your day be moving fast.
There could be
too.
people in front of me. I could be in such an in-depth conversation. A teacher's telling me about a problem they have. Do you know how rude that would be to be like,
yeah.
okay, continue.
Right. Imagine like
This is my man. And so
imagine
I had to, I had to set the boundary with him of, babe, I know, there are times I am available at work, but because you don't know it, it's best to, unless it's like something really pressing, time sensitive. Well, you can send me the message, but don't expect to get a response.
Right.
Till after work, because I may not do it. Now, the part I got to work on is sometimes I will forget. Like I could have seen the message later on, but like I'm still on the go. I can't respond.
Yeah,
and then
'cause
after
that be
work,
happening.
I forget, and then I'm pulling in the driveway, and he's home. I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to
Right?
respond.
You hurry up and respond to the text in the drive.
And I walk in the house, he looking at me like. So, I think there's a balance to that, to where the people who love you do need to get in touch with you. But at the same time, you have to set, that's what boundaries are for. It's there for a reason, to protect you, whether it be emotionally, mentally, what have you. This is the time that I need, but yet
There's
I
a
don't want to
balance.
alienate the people who care about me.
That's very true, because I will say I have the tendency to go too far left.
Honey, I was thinking
Where
that as I was
nobody's
talking.
hearing from
and
me,
I'm trying to
where
reel you
nobody-
back in.
But
Now, you
here's the
still call
thing.
me.
Yes, I still call you, and I'm doing better, because I did realize that sometimes I would just like let texts go for forever. But it's because if I don't respond in the moment, I genuinely will forget, and then a month be like, oh, like I never said whatever.
Mhm.
Also, I have this thing with like, if there's like a demand for me in the moment, something in me does not want to do it in that moment. I'm like very against
Because
it
you need a
happening.
beat. You need.
Demand avoidance, I know. Where even if I have to like pee really bad, there could be a bathroom right there. I'm holding it. It's like if something is required of me, like really like right then, I'm like, no. What makes it worse for me is I'll stop doing everything for the day. Drop everything. I'm like, one thing is happening. I'm like, yeah, so
So nothing's happening.
yeah, nothing's happening. I've actually clocked out for the day. Everything's been great. I do have to stop doing
It's
stuff
funny.
for the day.
I used to kind of be like that when I was younger.
Mhm.
Having responsibilities as a parent, it forced me,
Mhm.
because I didn't have you don't have the luxury.
You couldn't choose.
When you have to.
You literally
like,
have
and so
to.
I really think being a parent made me have grit.
Yeah.
Being a parent
Oh,
and
for
going
sure.
through college.
Being a parent is hard.
Those two
child.
things really did it, because
I
it's
ain't been
like
no parent.
you don't have an option. Like I remember when I was going through a really difficult time in my first marriage, and like there were times I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to take y'all to church. I didn't want to do anything, but I'm like, they shouldn't have to suffer because I'm feeling this way. And also, if I stay like this, then I'm going to be more miserable. Like
Yeah.
if I just go home and be sad and sorrowful, they're not going to get what they need. So
Right.
it forced me to do that. So I totally understand that.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to cut
I was
out.
about to say. Oh. But yeah, I noticed I was like letting certain like messages go for too long or not getting back to people. So I did tell myself, I'm like,
And I used to get on
you're
to
gonna
you
have
about
to-
one particular person. I'm like, you better call this person, text this person, check in on this person. You don't recall that?
head turn is dramatic.
Because it was a lot. I'm
like, dang.
I mean, you can cut it out if you want, but I was like, have you talked to your father?
Oh,
You need to
yeah,
text
yeah,
your
yeah.
father.
Yeah, she does
You
tell me
need to,
that.
like-
She does tell me that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And you know
Well,
what?
my mom did
You've
that
done it
with
my
me.
entire life, like my
Mhm.
entire life. Which I'm being a little bit better. But matter of fact, I need to call him today. But yeah. So there is, even though my introvertedness can like, it keeps me from being too depleted, because I'm not always going to be at somebody's beck and call if they call me. But I do need to make sure that I get better at like returning, because if you don't answer something in the moment, then I need to be calling you back. If I don't answer your text, I
Right.
need to be getting back to people.
Yeah, it goes
You
back
have
to that. Like,
yeah,
how much time are you going to give yourself?
exactly.
And that's legitimate. Like, you can't be like, well, I
Mhm.
waited 2 weeks.
Yeah, because I don't
You
want to
know?
not be like considerate of somebody. Because if somebody's calling you, it's like, Shari, like call them back. But it's like my brain will go whoop and just chuck it out.
Especially if it's somebody that's like your family or your inner
Yes,
circle. I'm not talking about
yes.
toxicity. You know, that's a
Mhm.
whole different story where you got to protect your peace and all that.
Yeah, but I'm like, I can't be ignoring people who I love. I'm like, I can't be doing
Yeah,
that.
so that's good.
I got to put something in place to make me be able to remember these things, and like that's
Right. And as we're talking, this just came to my mind. Like, what does that look like with me and you, with you being so introverted and me being so extroverted? And here's what's crazy. For years, I did not know that you were introverted
Yeah, nobody
because of
knew.
our interaction.
Yes. Okay. You know what?
And
That's
not
a
only
good
our
point.
interaction, but our interaction in spaces. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you used to tag along with me everywhere. Now you be acting. Anyway,
Every
let's
week,
keep it going.
you bring that
Let's go-
up at
let's-
least
let's-
once.
I think that's my first time bringing it up. And needless to say,
It's not. You just last week.
let's get back on track.
All right.
You used to tag along with me, and sometimes like she'd be with me while I'm talking to another one of those deep friendships that I've established, but
Yeah.
I may not see them all the time. And before you know it, like if they pulled her in the conversation, she was never a child that just jumped in the conversation. She knew
I
her
was in my
space.
own world a lot.
I
too.
appreciated that about you. Like she was aware, but she wasn't in my business. Like she would just be there
I was
and be
somewhere
pleasant.
like,
Butterfly fluttering. But you would engage them in conversation. Like you would be like the minute they would prompt you, you weren't one of those kids that was like acting like you didn't want to speak. You couldn't speak up. You were articulate. You would speak out. You would make them feel like you actually care about the conversation.
And I would be caring when in those cases. I did be caring. But I'll say that I do be caring. But I was gonna say this. It's key to what you said earlier. I'm introverted, but I'm not shy. I'm not shy at all.
Right.
Like when I get around people, I'm not like, I don't know about talking. I don't know about her. It's more so like I love to be alone. I recharge when I'm alone. I thrive when I'm alone. I feel my most safe when I'm alone.
Yeah.
Having a great time.
But do you feel
like I'm never shy?
But do you feel as if there's ever times where your introvertedness and my extrovertedness clash? Or do you feel like we just find a synchrony
It's a
there?
good question.
Because as you were talking,
we tend to be in sync for whatever reason. Oh, I actually know why. It's because I feel really safe around you. If I'm around you with other people, I'm like at ease. Because I'm like, with us two, I'm like, I'll be just fine. There is no, I don't anticipate any discomfort because I know like we just, I don't know. And we're in flow a lot.
We're in flow a lot. And
so,
here's the other side to that. Even though I'm extroverted, the older I've gotten, the more I appreciate my time alone.
Yes.
Because like I was saying in the last episode, if you haven't seen it, you need to go watch it. I'm so busy and my mind is always going that now when I can get a moment away, I do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Because you and I literally could be in the same. People probably think we're always like, kiki. Now we do kiki a lot, no doubt. But there are times we could both be in the same room and we're not saying a single word to each other.
It's my favorite.
We could be in the car and not saying a word. The music might be on, we'll start singing, but like we literally don't have to be talking the entire time. And don't let us be working. I'm working on something and you're working on something. Woo! And I'm thinking you're paying me no attention. And then I get up and get ready to go. You're like, where are you going?
Go. Yeah. Like, where are you about to go? So
yeah, I do believe that. And I think that's that just goes to show you, though, when you think about personality types, too. And as we think about the DISC assessment, yours look very similar to mine. Like, my I is higher than yours. My interactive is higher than yours, but yours is pretty high. And then your C is high. So you're very cautious. You pay attention to details, procedures, and so do I. I think that's why when we have an issue with one another, you know how we say, like, when we do disagree, it's like
yeah, because Friday we low-key had it out for a second.
But it was a nice had it out.
It was a nice had it out.
But we have it out in an agreeable manner.
Yeah.
And part of that, like I said, I really don't like conflict, but I know that it's a part of life. And I do feel more empowered now that it's like you do have the opportunity to grow and give other people the opportunity to grow when you articulate, you do it in a manner without letting a negative emotion come out. Like the negative emotion just messes it all up. It's my dirty plate theory. Do you know my dirty plate theory?
Good. You talking about like eating good food?
Yeah, like I always talk about, like, you think about your favorite food. For me, that's like rice and peas, oxtails, mac and cheese, collard greens, plantain and avocado on the side or something, right? So just imagine you go to this restaurant and they have the food and you know it's going to be good. Your mouth is getting ready for it. They come, they're bringing you the plate. It's almost like it's in slow-mo, music playing in the background. And then the steam is coming off the food.
Going on it.
And then they sit it in front of you and the plate is dirty.
Yeah.
You know the food is good.
Right.
But it's a dirty plate. So let's take that to this. You could be telling me something and it's actually the truth. It's actually something I need to listen to. But your delivery is the dirty plate to where I don't even want to hear it.
Right. And so it overshadows.
It overshadows.
And it shouldn't have to.
And I think on both ends there is a point. And me and my husband talk about this too. It's like both sides have a responsibility. Both the person who is listening and the person who is talking. So if you're telling me about something about me that, you have concerns with, your responsibility is to deliver it in a manner that is kind. And when I say kind, and that's hard because people are like, everybody's not kind when they're mad. Well, that's a choice, right? And that's something you got to work on. That's that self-management piece. but at least delivered in a way where you're not attacking the person, right?
Yeah, I was about to say, like, you're not adding on extras that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, but
like,
you're
telling the full truth, saying the exact thing.
That's right.
And saying just that.
Yeah, because to me, when you and I were talking on Friday, I think we were both still kind.
Mom, literally we were, because I was thinking about the interaction. I was running through it in my head. And the way, why are you laughing?
Because you were thinking about it?
Because I was just going through it and I'm like, wow, we spent the whole conversation. Our voice level was literally like this. You were like, well, Shari did it. I was like, well, no, I never. Yeah. You were like, well, I can't be fake. And then I said, well, I'm not calling you fake, but I am saying that. But it sounded just like that.
Neither of us, see, people can be like that and be passive aggressive. Neither were we being passive aggressive.
At all.
And that's something I think, we've always pretty much I think before there was some passive aggressiveness on your end.
For sure.
Because I was the mom, so I'm always very ready to talk about it, and you might be passive aggressive about it. But now that we're at this point where it's like a friendship, although it's a momship friendship,
my friend.
you know, we both kind of talk in a certain way that's like, you're saying your piece, I'm saying my piece. So basically your responsibility would be not to attack me, but attack the issue, right?
Yes.
My responsibility is to think, I don't want to be attacked, but if I am, let me try to sift away at the garbage, at the dirt. Is there any truth in what she's saying?
Yes.
So each person would have to work on their own stuff. Me, I got to work on, don't be so in your feelings that you're not finding truth. You're working on, I need to tell the truth, but I need to tell the truth in love, in a kind way.
Yes.
That's kind of how I see it. I know for some people that sounds like a perfect world, and it doesn't have to be a perfect world. It's just a matter of choice and working on yourself.
Because it don't always happen there's sometimes we have a conversation and we'll come back later and be like, I'm sorry for saying such and such. I just
did that last week when I came in here and fussed at you about not hanging up those pictures.
Oh yeah, because I got real quiet.
Well, to be honest with you, let me say this.
But that was a small thing.
We were chilling.
Yeah.
And then I looked up and I saw those pictures still on the floor. I'm like, girl.
Yeah.
These pictures, the rest of these need to be framed. You need to hang them up so you can have and then your face just looked like, and even when you said goodbye, your goodbye was like dry.
Yeah.
And you know how we are about goodbyes. It's a hug. It's
I
love
know.
you.
We're very you better
You're watching me drive out. Honey, you closed that door. You did not watch me drive out. I don't know if you realize that.
You know what?
You did not watch me drive.
I did it with attitude too. You got in the car and slammed the door and no, what was it? You had opened, yes. You got in the car, you closed the door, you opened the garage. I said, boom. I closed the garage door and walked back in the house.
I was like, and then as I was driving, I thought about it. I was like, Rachel, well, you were just telling her what to do.
I walked away
and
from
that is her house. She can put those pictures up there because, I will be on that kick too. This is your house. You can do what you want to do.
Yeah, you like,
but
I don't care
the mama jeans still pop out. And I'm like, and I know how you are. You like your stuff up and neat and put away.
And
too.
I think you knew that I was overthinking that and a bunch of other things. So when you had said it, I was just kind of like, and I think you picked up on that though.
I picked up on that and I'm like, I gotta apologize. And I did. And one thing I had to teach Shari to stop doing, like when I do apologize and she's like, that's okay. I'm like, actually it's not. And that's why I'm apologizing. You don't have to say okay to make me feel better. I'm the one apologizing to make things right with you. So I get it. And that's a lot of growing up that I've just had to do, period, of understanding when that happens, you don't have to, it might feel uncomfortable at first, but after a while, that will be how you operate. And I think that's why we can kind of move the way we move, because it's like there is a mutual respect. There is an understanding of we're not always going to get along. And although people be so shocked.
Oh my gosh, I'm over that too. It's been too many years.
It's been too many. But I guess people are not always witness to it.
I know, but I'm an adult. It's not like I'm 12 years old and I'm just, everything mom says I follow right along. I'm like, little do y'all know, every day it's someone's like, well, Shari, I don't agree with that, child. We plenty of times.
Or we just might disagree on simple stuff. And I'm like, well, Shari, did you think about this? Yeah, mom, but I'm not doing that. Cause I'm like, okay.
And I'm like, cool. We'll have to agree, disagree.
And we have to pick our battles.
Yeah. You know what I think it is with a lot of people? Because I was like this more in the past. I could still be this way, but I'm a little bit better about it now.
It's easy to go back to your little defaults.
Yes, it is. Child, especially, I know I can go back to a good old default. But when somebody's addressing a problem with someone, it's easy to feel like it's Mom.
Honey, I took the sip and my eyes saw this drizzlicious
and then
bag.
have that, and then it's sweet, and then a sip right after.
Very berry bites. The other one was
birthday cake is better. Birthday cake is so much better.
The berry is bearing. It almost is giving.
It's strong a little bit.
It's almost giving. You know how you have a flavored vitamin for children?
The Flintstone vitamin. Yes. Deani, Jerry's trying to call you.
Yes, Jerry.
Not sponsored.
No.
This isn't sponsored. This is not sponsored. Jerry said not sponsored.
However, Drizzlicious, if you one of y'all can add Drizzlicious.
Crystal's on it. Crystal's on it.
Okay, I was gonna say if y'all want to, because it's the perfect podcast snack.
That was good.
That came natural. It actually
That gave
did.
like modern day like infomercial. Oh, I miss those kind of vibes. That was good.
That was a good little wink.
Yeah. That gave very Truman Show. Have you seen Truman Show?
Part of it.
That gave Truman Show when they be having a serious moment with Truman and they would stop and like they be cleaning the counter and they're like, well, I have to clean the counter with my soap from such and such and look into the camera. That's what exactly what that gave.
Yeah, birthday cake is better, so I'll try another flavor. Maybe
Not even just better. Birthday cake is the best.
You
Well,
know what
I haven't
think it'd
had
be
the other
great?
flavors.
Just have a different flavor for each. We can try a different flavor. Or
I can just keep having birthday cake because it's the best.
But I think that people would love to hear like how good it is. Or we can wait till we get that sponsorship.
That was good. But I was gonna say, people take when you like talk about something that they do that you don't like, they take it as more of a personal attack. And I feel like sometimes what they hear is that you don't like them.
Shari, you just
because I have felt that way sometimes.
Listen, you took that hammer and those nails we talked about.
Please.
And honey, you drove
not dredging back up hammers and nails.
You hit the nail on the head with that one. And that is so true. And that's why, like, y'all, emotional intelligence. Yeah. Ever since, I think I've always been meant to dig more into emotional intelligence, but I didn't know it until Deani, was like, you should be certified in DISC. And it really has taught me so much about just myself and people. And you are so right when it comes to when you're sharing something with somebody. Immediately, everybody in the world wants to feel safe.
Yes.
And people always think that means like physically safe. No, you want to feel emotionally safe. You want to even feel mentally safe. And so that defense is going to come up because hold up, you telling me about myself?
Because immediately what you hear is, it almost sounds like the person is saying, yeah, I don't like you. When they bring up an issue, I feel like that's what people hear.
And people have to understand, I used to tell my students this a lot, it's okay to not agree with somebody. And it's okay if somebody doesn't agree with you. You don't have to hate them because y'all didn't agree on something.
I think a lot of people think that resolution is agreement automatically.
Right.
A lot of people's idea of resolution is agreement.
That was good.
But I'm
like, good.
And I think a lot of people, when they say, well, I just want to feel heard and understood, but I think their idea of feeling heard and understood is agreement.
At the end of it, you agree with what I said.
Yes.
And sometimes resolution is deuces. We need to go our separate ways.
Yeah.
I'm glad we've had a chance to unpack this.
Right.
But I can see right now, your stance is your stance, and I respect that.
Also, I can move forward without adopting your ideas.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes. Literally. Like,
that's right.
We obviously think different about it. Okay. And on to the next.
And wait, we have to address this, as we think about parent-children relationships, how many mothers or fathers are willing to say that to their adult children?
I'm telling you,
and
Mom,
I'm saying this as a parent myself, especially, I have my two girls that are adults, and one is away from me, and I'm sure if she was here, I would learn even more. But with you actually being here, I literally had to, there were times I remember making a shift. I remember saying, at this moment, like, I really believe she's low-key trying to assert her independence, but she's not saying it, and it's not looking the way I thought it would look, so I need to fall back. I need to fall back. Rachel, it's going to be all right. She's an adult. Let her deal with this. And it just takes that, and that emotional intelligence, the more you dig into that, trying to be in tune to what's being said when it's not being said sometimes. And so I think that's super, super important. The older you get with your children, I mean, I think you should always teach them to set boundaries. But when they're little, like little toddler, you're trying to keep them safe. You're trying to teach them what the rules are. This is how things go. And as well as boundaries. But the older you get, you just really have to, sometimes you're like, oh, they grown now, they this, they that. But how are y'all moving?
Yeah, because you have to start moving different.
You have to start moving differently because now, they are an adult. They may not be in your house. You can't go in the house telling them, hang up your pictures, sweep this floor,
Or
clean
or
up
is
your
you're gonna
house.
get a garage door slam in the face.
Okay. It was not in the face.
It wasn't.
But neither when you visit your child, if you're going up the stairs, she's asking you, where are you going? I'm like, is everything okay? But you know what I noticed?
Last time I asked you that, you said, leave me alone,
Leave
please.
me alone, please. But you know what?
No, it wasn't that. You said, can you leave me alone? That's
You're
what it
like
was.
that when you're on edge about something else. And what that something else was for
Yes.
you're really hard on yourself about cleaning your house.
Yeah.
Your house is pretty clean, Shari.
So it's like, if I haven't gotten to it yet, I'm like,
right.
don't go down that hall. Don't go.
Even your mother, who like taught you how to clean, who has seen how you keep house and room and the whole bit. So, I just think that I'm glad you brought that up because like, just because you don't, it's okay that you don't agree with somebody when you're having a conversation with them. Doesn't mean you have to not like them because of it. That's huge.
Yeah, it's like you may never. Now there are some things because you know me. Like, it's
Yeah,
real
well,
strict
there's
around
some
here.
things if it has to do with like a belief system.
For me, core beliefs.
Yeah,
yes.
core beliefs that have to do with like, for example, somebody believes in something that oppresses your people.
Yeah.
Like we can't even be friends anymore.
Or even if it don't oppress my people, even if it oppresses somebody else.
Yeah, oppression, period.
But yes. Core beliefs, like we're not getting around that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna hate you, but we can't even be acquaintances.
That's why earlier when you were like, oh, if somebody's talking and like you may not be saying anything, and I was like, do I agree with what they're saying?
Oh yeah, I
like
know.
if it's like something like that, because I used to be more ready to argue back in the day. Like I was ready to debate down, like, no, we're gonna do this. But now, like being older, well, one, I've like done reading into when you're having like a debate with somebody, even if you started showing them cold, hard facts, it actually they're more likely to hold on even tighter to their belief. Sure. So I had to really let go of that and realizing like, girl, that is just not your labor.
You've been doing some self-help reading?
My labor. No, not self-help reading.
I've been reading.
But if I am doing like self-help reading, it's like, I don't know, I've stumbled across an article online.
Yeah, it's not like a book.
But it was more, that one wasn't self-help. It was just talking about like when people have conversations and debate things, and it's not going to go like,
that's true.
You're not going to change somebody's mind in the way that you think.
Yeah.
Even if you do show them facts, you can show them evidence.
You're just doing that for you, not for them. Because a lot of people do have confirmation bias, especially about certain things like, you're not about to change my mind about this.
But you could show somebody like actual proof and they will hold even tighter to their belief. And once I read that, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to be getting into, like, I'm not having these conversations all the time.
It's funny you say that because I did notice that. I want to say I thought about that, if not today, recently, like, Shari, you used to like go in hard on like the things that you believed about. And I remember I used to ask you why. Like I couldn't understand what was it that like, because like as a child, you didn't necessarily have situations where people like forced you to follow their way or anything. So I always wondered it, but
because and I still feel the same way. The feeling hasn't changed. When somebody says something ignorant,
you're managing it better.
It's like a disruption, like to me.
Going on
I
inside.
feel a full but it's like I just realized very quickly, especially after reading that, I'm like, this is not my like labor, and I'm not the teacher of the world, and I'm not going to change somebody's mind at the drop of a hat. And there's so much that goes into informing who you are and what you believe anyway.
That's right.
What am I even do? Like that's going to have to be.
Here's the thing, and I don't know if you thought about this. You have a platform where every single day, like you're being authentic and speaking your truth. So you're still getting out there. And even though you don't like the word influencer, you do influence each and every day, each and every video you put up. Sometimes it's for just to be silly and fun. Sometimes it's for issues. You bring things to people's attention.
Because I will say my little one too. And maybe that's where it balances out for me is because I will say exactly what I think every single time. I'm not getting into arguments with people. But when it comes to like, if I were to post a video and it's about something like that, I'm going to say exactly what I think.
And listen,
and I'm not going back and forth
about it. You say
it
with your chest and you stand 10 toes down every time.
So
and I be on the other side like, yes, yes, I'm proud of her.
But
I love
that kind of helps with that.
I love that about you, that, whatever you stand for, you really believe it. Of course, the thing about, animals and you would rather run into a pole. I think
Oh,
I'll never
Lord,
get over
it's
that.
not. I would rather run into a pole
Than run over an animal. But I do, like, there are a lot of people, and you think about that quote. I think it's Martin Luther King, like, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
I
Is it
don't know
him?
who said it.
I don't know.
child.
I just gave it to him. But but I think it's a
One
wonderful
for him.
quote. And sometimes in a world where people like change based on what they see online and
Right.
or even in my time, it was just like your peers and
Mhm.
being that chameleon, like you truly are always like, no, this is what I believe.
Y'all can look at me crazy
You
if
can
you
look at me
want
if you
to.
crazy you want to,
Yeah,
but I'm
no.
gonna be just fine in this space that I'm in. And that is, I think it's not only admirable, but it's attractive. So I just wanted to tell you that. It is. I'm sure there are adults who look up to you like, I look up to Shari. I wish I could stand 10 toes down
Please.
like that and be bold. I'm telling you, because some people are, and the evolution of it all. When you were younger, your people pleasing looked different. Like I said, now, like I
Yeah.
said, you like to host and take care of people.
Mhm.
But there are
Love to
adults
host.
who, the whole people pleasing thing is what causes them to kind of shift and move.
Yeah.
And like, when I'm in these circles, then I'll do this. No, you're like, this is who I am. And then if you think you're going to be around people who are going to be so obstinate, like against what you believe, you won't even go or hang out
Oh yeah,
or be in their presence. So
I'm
that's
not
good
gonna
stuff.
go. I'm not.
That's good. How many minutes we got?
It's a good time to wrap up.
Oh well, period.
I always feel it in my spirit.
You do.
always-
I low key kind of tell too, but I feel like you really know.
You know what
I
it
just be
is?
going.
It's the teacher in me. Time is everything. Like we're always like trying to figure out what time is it.
because
What
your
time
life
is
has
it?
been measured in bell schedules.
Bell schedules, honey.
Like literally,
I
like
still-
you have internal bell.
To be quite honest with you, that's why I hate when I am off of work and stuff. I remember when I first got married, Jimmy would be like, "What time?" And I'm like, I don't want to be on a time right now.
Yeah.
I wake up when I want to wake up.
When I get ready.
When I get ready, because I feel like I've earned that for 9 months
Yeah.
out of the year. I'm dictated, not all.
Because I just want like reprieve. for
Yeah, you want. I mean,
like-
and I don't want to make it sound like, yes, teachers, we work hard, educators work hard, but it is definitely still has been very fulfilling.
Yeah.
Like if I had to choose, remember I was a pre-med major.
Oh.
I could have been a doctor.
You were a preem.
and I'd be at the hospital the whole time, right?
You would have been a great doctor though.
Thank you.
I believe.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, your bedside manner would have been tea.
Honey, I'd be in there. They'd be like, you got to get to this next room.
Oh my gosh, I just thought about that. Your bedside manner would be like so good. Please, tens.
I love the kids.
Braid.
The older kids. The little ones are cute, but I tend to gravitate towards
do.
the older ones. But man, this was like really enlightening.
You love to do a man.
It was like, and I guess to me, because I'm extroverted,
Yeah.
low key, love a good introverted moment by
Mhm.
myself. It's interesting to be in a room of people who, this is literally how you move, where it's like,
Yeah.
hold on, I gotta gauge what I'm, and even the people I work with, there's 4 of us, but 3 of us are in the office usually around the same time,
Ow.
and the other 2 are introverts.
Yeah.
And so I remember when we first started working together, it was weird because like we're working, but it's like I'm wanting to say something. Like I'm wanting to have and we have banters, we laugh, we giggle.
Do.
But there were times that it'd be like really awkward silence for a long period of time.
You-
So I'd just be
you
like,
love
"What? Let me zone in." Huh?
You love a good moment. You love a good
I love a
check-in.
good moment.
I'm just imagining you sitting at work and you're looking around like smiling like when
I'm
is
like-
when is it gonna
I'm
happen?
like, they're really like they just walked in and we said hi to each other, but they're not saying anything. And now listen, honey. I mean, we still have we all have our quiet moments, but we will have a good kiki too because we need it.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, right. You close it out. You're the
You want me
closer
to close-
outer.
I'm the closer outer. I kind of
Yeah.
started out with you. So this was So Tell Me This Sundays.
And we'll see you next Sunday.
Bye.